We'll see. Anthony long injured. Rest. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Oh, you would do that too. Yeah, no, one layer is too much already. Yeah, they're not very I said to you when we got around the cinema, they do a lot of filming, other expenses from the cinema, filming profile pieces.
Very nice. I'm going to put it on the phone with this. He's alright in here or what? He's dead. He's been a complaint to the Journalists Association Road and we're getting the piece from there. No fun.
AWD. Steady week 1 as well, by big margin.
This always happens to me. I always feel like I'm blurry when I zoom out, but when I zoom in,
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Gardens Oval for the final round of the 2019-2020 TIO NTFL season, with St Mary's up against the Darwin Buffaloes. Matt Hepworth, Ricky Nolan and Rob Cross with you this afternoon. Gentlemen, before we throw to you, I just want to spell out the situation with the game this afternoon and some pending games. There's a lot riding on games this afternoon. Right now, Nightcliff have secured top spot and the minor premiership on the ladder. St Mary's have secured second place, but this is where it gets interesting. If the Darwin Buffaloes win today and Tiwi Bombers lose, they will retain third place on the ladder, 4 points ahead of the Bombers. If both Darwin Buffs and Tiwi Bombers win, third and fourth place will then be determined by percentage, but that would have to be a big win by Tiwi to do that. If both Darwin Buffs and Tiwi lose today and Southern Districts win, the Crocs will then jump from 5th to 3rd, and then the Buffs will play Tiwi Bombers in an elimination final. So a lot riding on the line this afternoon. Ricky Nolan.
Yeah, it is. Welcome back to Gardens Oval. These two extremely famous football clubs have a lot of good battles here over the years. They haven't played here probably not much in the last 15 years, moving to Marara, and this isn't the home game of any of these two clubs. But during the 60s and 70s, Darwin Buffaloes absolutely ruled roost over this oval, and during the 80s and the 90s, St Mary's ruled roost over this oval. So good to see these two traditional clubs going at it here in the suburbs.
Rob, it's about 34 in the shade at the moment. It's going to make for a hot and sweaty afternoon of footy.
Yeah, and the great thing about Gardens Oval, we get to call in the open air, so the
Certainly
crowd
do.
in the grandstand will be able to enjoy our call. Hopefully we'll get it pretty much right for you as best we can, but should be a great game. Kevin Moroney captaining the Buffaloes today in the absence of Jared Stokes, and Shannon Rioli, skipper of course for St Mary's. You painted a beautiful picture, round 18 of the NTFL season. Brilliant way to finish the year. The top 5 still very uncertain, apart from, of course, Nightcliff and St Mary's in 1 and 2. But 3 teams vying for that vital double chance. And you might be a little bit hard to pick up on the screen here, but the centre circle is very close to the grandstand side of the ground. I'm not sure whether they're protecting the cricket pitches here or not, but we almost feel like we're hanging over these ruck contests in the middle, and we're waiting for the play to get underway with Chris Atkinson to take on Braxton Armat. Gardens Oval, Darwin. Final round of NTFL home and away season. Up goes Armat. Atkinson over the top. Coombs gets a quick kick away. Schillerbeer through his grasp. Socket off the ground cleverly by Bowles. Then he lays a tackle on Tyler Saunders. Ferreira. Whistle goes, and it's going to be a holding free kick. It's going the way of the Buffaloes. They've got Sam Bono back today. We saw him kick 12 goals in round 1. He's only played 2 Premier League games all season, 3 in Division 1. So by playing today, qualifies for finals. It makes a pretty star-studded forward line. Schillerbeer there as well. Ish Palmer. Stafford playing today after he looked like he might have tweaked a hammy last week. Rick, you don't believe me, but he certainly looked like he pulled up a bit sore. They've got him out there today.
Sam Bono's played 2 games and he kicked 12 in 1, so he's got a goal kicking average of at least six goals or more.
Wow.
So it's not bad. Not a bad goal kicking average. Tony Lockett averaged 4.
Joey Anderson playing down in the forward line at the moment as well. So some big names down there. Atkinson in ruck. Coombs. Hill takes it, throws it on the left boot. Charging at it there, Leroy Larson close to the boundary line. And Kale Cossack can't control it. Out at right half forward. No score.
Both sides got fairly strong, as you'd think, going into the last round of the season. They've got pretty strong sides going into this game. So yeah, they're not half strength running, so I reckon we're in for a really good contest here today.
Good to see Morris Rioli Jr. back for St Mary's. Braxton Armat and Atkinson. Coombs. Kick down the line. Mark taken in towards Waite over his head, the former Blue and Kangaroo player. Daly kicks up towards half forward. Intercepted by Armat, close to the boundary line. Can he shrug the tackle? Well done by Jacob Long. And it'll be a boundary throw in between wing and half forward, grandstand side of Gardens Oval.
Interesting with Morris Rioli, he's doing schooling at one of the elite colleges. I think he might be at Scotch College, but he's not a fly-in player. They changed the rules 2 years ago where local players going to boarding school are not counted as a fly-in player.
Waite to Sean Edwards, a couple of players with AFL experience. Inside attacking 50. Out comes Johnson, traps it very cleverly. Back to Larson, he's 40 from goal. Here's Morris Rioli Jr. Can he sidestep around his opponent? He's brilliantly tackled, flung to the ground and holding the football, and the Buffs with the advantage out to Williams on the outer side. Botanic Gardens side of Gardens Oval. Kick over the top to Pendlebury. Oh, well played by Rioli Jr. Swooped on the footy. Kick not great, although it finds Ferreira, and maybe not his original target. Here's Jackson Payne, who was very good last week. He's taken in a tackle and didn't get rid of it legally, said the umpire. Good tackle by McKenzie. And the big-bodied Mackenzie, handy player for this Buff side. Kicks inside, attacking 50. Sambono, Stafford third up, got hands to it. Stays in the contest. Oh, taken high, might have ducked into it. He will get a free kick. And it's Seaton Kunoth, who is 45 metres out directly in front for the first score of the afternoon.
Mackenzie had a haircut. Getting the ball now and having a shot, but he looked a bit different.
From 40 metres, could be the first goal to the Buffs, and he brings it up at the beach end. Buffs won straight, St Mary's yet to score.
He's had a huge year, Mackenzie. I reckon he's been a pretty big Buffs junior. Had a pretty good year, but that's a fair shot at goal. Good contest here, and Buffs get the free kick. But yeah, Mackenzie's been a very good player for him all year.
Just a quick update from TIO Stadium, gentlemen. 16 minutes into the third quarter, Wanderers and Tiwi Bombers tied at 57 each. So, of course, remember, the Buffs currently playing for a third spot up against the Tiwi Bombers, and the Wanderers looking to upset them at the moment, 57 apiece, 16 minutes into the third quarter over at TIO Stadium.
In a way, it's not an upset because Wanderers have lost to Tiwi by less than a goal twice this year, and one of them was over the island, I think. So maybe they've got a good record against Tiwi.
I think that game on was that the game that
Cyril kicked the
winning goal?
Rioli's one and only game where he kicked the winning goal.
Score for level at like the full time or something, went back and checked Cyril got the last goal.
Mackenzie up in ruck against Armat. Edwards, Coombs has looked strong early and he comes up with another possession. Kicks inside, attacking 50. Sam Bodo there trying to work his way to the front. He's up against Long. Tyler Saunders. Teaming well out of defence, St Mary's. Back to Long. Touches it on the ground, waits for something to break further up the ground. He kicks up towards half forward. Calder in front of Moroney. And it goes out of bounds between wing and half forward. Botanic Gardens side of Gardens Oval.
I reckon Buffs have got a little bit more to play for than Saints today. Look, third spot's a double chance. I can't stress how much of an advantage I reckon it is coming third compared to coming fourth or fifth. Just that double chance, you can have a hiccup, you can have a bad quarter. You finish fourth or fifth, you've got to play 4 weeks of very, very good football.
Good pick up by Chris Williams. Down the throat of Shillabeer. They look lively early, the Buffs. And Shillabeer kicks long. Stafford, Sambono. Stafford in from the side, just a little bit too high the kick. Gain the St Mary's defence, teaming well. Comes out towards Daly. And the Hillsville recruit has been solid across half-back. Kicks to the wing. Just eyes off the footy there, Ferreira, and it's coming back to Jackson Clark.
Jackson Clark, I reckon, had his best game for 2 weeks last year, so hopefully he can keep that form. 2 years, I reckon, last week. He was very, very good, so hopefully he can keep that form going.
Lovely kick by Bradley Stokes, straight down the throat of Williams, 45 metres away. That was a right foot kick a few weeks ago. I'm not sure whether it was you in commentary with us, Rick, but we were commenting that Stokes kicked left foot pretty much all game. He's very adept on both sides of his body.
Good here, it's for St Mary's. Aiden Hill looks like he's limping off as well.
Heavily bandaged left knee. Williams kick off the side of the boot. In from the side, Stafford.
When you talk about Aiden Hill, you speak to Darren Ewing privately, and he says before Aiden Hill, he didn't play footy for 5 years, but Darren Ewing, the best there ever been in NTFL football, full forward, says that Aiden Hill is the best fullback, or one of the best fullbacks he ever played on, so it's a pretty big rap coming from an absolute superstar.
Given the plays he would have played on as well. St Mary's from full-back, back into the middle. Calder was in front spot. Wait. Shannon Rioli goes to ground. Tackled by Armat. Cameron Stokes. Sambono sandwiched in between a couple. Joe Anderson goes after the footy. Davies, handball over his head to Cheek was good. On the right boot, Cheek. Oh, intercepted by Shillabeer. 2 grabs at it. Taken high accidentally, rules the umpire. Cheek goes in hard. Comes up with it. He's got some pace. Shillabeer can't grab him. Cheek kicks up towards half forward. Calder, bigger body against Moroney, who does well. To the silky skilled Rioli. They slips though. Taken down and a tackle by Eldridge and penalised holding the footy. Eldridge will relieve from half back for the Buffs in front of the grandstand. Oh, Shillabeer all alone. Will it get to him? Out comes Labastida. Shrugs the tackle. Handball to Ferreira. They go backwards to Cheek to set up from half-back. Intercepted by Tahana, though. Now some space for the Buffaloes. Shillabeer, he can trot. He's a thumping kick. He decides to kick early. He wants Stafford. Stafford pushes away, goes the one-hander against Parry. That's an interesting duel, giving away some height, but strong in the body. And he does well. And again, St Mary's clear from half-back. Linklater. Marks, outside defensive 50, out of side. 1 straight goal, Buffaloes. St Mary's yet to score. 7.5 minutes gone. And a turnover, Atkinson to bring the ball back into play.
Turning the footy over, St Mary's. Josh Cheek turned over the last one for Buffs nearly to score, and then Linklater turned that one over.
In comes Matty Campbell, the Buffaloes coach. High kick in towards Stafford. Oh, a brilliant mark. He had to get one eventually, and there's that height advantage against Parry. Held him out, and a couple of juggling attempts. He marks 30 out directly in front.
He's really been the best forward in the competition this year, and I don't know if that's I think it's a great matchup for St Mary's. Parry, so yeah, it's going to be dangerous, but I've got a bit of a theory. If St Mary's could get 14 inside 50s a quarter, get the ball long and deep 8 times to Jared Wade, they could win the flag. Well, at the moment, I don't think they've gone inside 50 once, so they want to lift a bit.
For his 36th goal of the season, never in doubt, straight over the goal umpire's head, and at the moment it's all Buffaloes. 2 straight 12, St Mary's yet to score, 8.5 gone.
Yeah, they're just dominating Buffs. I reckon they'd be double or triple their possession rate, and they've hardly gone in forward. They've got one of the all-time great forwards in the AFL in Jared Waite. They haven't even got the ball near him yet, so they need to lift.
Very competitive last time these two teams met back in round 11. I think the Buffs had an 11-point lead at half-time. Scores level at three-quarter time, and then it was Saints that managed to pull away with just an 11-point lead. But, Rob, I think you and I called that just before Christmas, and it was a pretty tight contest all the way through.
Yeah, that's right. Played twice this year, round 4 and round 11. Both St Mary's wins, but both games played at a high standard, very competitive. Payne in ruck for St Mary's won the tap to Paredes off the outside of his right boot. Cameron Stokes back with the flight. Marks wants to play on quickly and realised it was better just to take his time and steady things down.
Yes, they've left his 45 kick open. If it's on, they're not using it, they Buffs.
Back out towards the wing. Jackson Clark from right half back. Kicks towards half forward. Palmer. Sambono. Jalen Clark threw it on the boot. Awkward kick. Sets Ish Palmer a task. Spoiled over the top from Jake Long. Comes back to Sambono. Fumbles. Back to Tyler Saunders. Neat sidestep. Gets back on his right boot. And created some space. And St Mary's have control on the wing. Kick comes back in towards half forward.
Just wish they'd get the ball to Jared Wade here.
Well played by Long. Runs to 60. Awkward kick. Waite got hands to it, couldn't trap it. Tahana right on his hammer. Handball slips off the fist. Pretty warm conditions here, but well teamed by the Buffs, and they work it out towards half-back, still inside defensive 50.
St Mary's have got to get the ball in 5 seconds earlier than what they did into the forward line.
The Stokes combined well. Kale Cossack, clever off the ground to the open spaces of the wing. Will it stay in for Campbell? It does. Gathers a couple of metres into the boundary. Calls his teammate forward. In comes Bowles. He goes up. Labastida did well just to push him off the footy. He's got Daly in support, but Bowles lays a wonderful tackle to holding the footy.
It's outstanding, wasn't it?
Patrick Bowles.
Unbelievable second effort.
He's had a good season.
Yeah, I was going to say, Rob, he'd be nearly one of the favourites for their best and fairest, wouldn't he?
Yeah, very consistent. He's not a bad shot on goal.
Good work by Colin Wilson checking Matthew Campbell. It's not a player that you want to see with the ball in his hands. 40 metres out.
For an 18-point lead at the 11-minute mark of the first quarter, 40 metres, tough angle. He sets it out to the left. It was swinging back, but he just had it going too far left. And it stays out there for the first behind of the match. So Mary's yet to score, Rick.
You watch Buffs a bit closer than I do, Rob. Do you reckon this is their best side for the year? Strongest side, I should say.
Pretty much, apart from Jared Stokes. Devon Lyons was rucking pretty well early in the season as well. Good mark to Leroy Larson. Right half back, Johnston, and he spills the chest mark right on the boundary line. He's got Ryan Pendlebury, the brother of the Magpies captain in the AFL. He won't qualify for finals. I think this is just his 4th game. He'd be handy for the Buffs in the finals with his big body, especially up against some of those Nightcliff's forwards, if that's who they end up playing. Jackson Payne, tackled. Cossack, good to Anderson. Parry holds him up, back to Cossack. Clever handball to Anderson. Can he get it over to Jalen Clark? He does. The 1-2 with Anderson. He's about to be run down by Parry. Throws him to the ground. Didn't control the footy. Linklater does well. Colin Wilson tackled by Stephen Kurnoth. Back to Linklater. Some good young players there working with footy. Comes back to Anderson. Whistle goes, a throw. Well done by Adam Parry, who's in every one of those contests, and he does well at right half back for Saints. Former Pints player, had a good season. Played every game this year. Up towards half forward. Leroy Larson. Coombs does well. Scooped up by Cossack. Slick hands. Bradley Stokes on the left boot to Bowles. Just a little bit too high, and Ferreira, who was pretty solid last week, takes a very good mark running off the flight.
Yeah, I hope St Mary's stick with this guy. He's got a good future.
Towards half forward, Eldridge does well to remove the bigger Larson. Was very clever. It comes to Tahana, who's all alone. He's playing on weight, and weight's giving him about 20 metres, and Tahana can set up from right half back. Sambono, but Tyler Saunders floats across in front and takes a strong grab for St Mary's. Morris Rioli Jr.
I reckon Saints' defence has been good for the absolute pressure that they've just...
Yeah, I was thinking exactly that.
Talking
Ricky.
about inside 50s, I reckon Buffs have had 15. We're halfway through the quarter.
Jake Long's kick was good to Paredes. 80 from goal. Here's Waite's opportunity. Spoiled away, but it's going to come down field. And a chance here for St Mary's first goal.
You're right about Saints' defence though, Ricky. There's a lot of momentum going for the Buffs, but they work really hard just before the 50 and they're managing to shut it down. I mean, Buffs have still had their fair share of inside 50s, but they could be a whole lot more, and it could be a whole lot worse on the scoreboard. I mean, it's only 2-1-13 for, we reckon at least a dozen inside 50s for the Buffs.
Jake Long and Tyler Saunders, they've been a bit of strife, Saints, if it wasn't for those two, I think.
From the arc of 50, Waite is across the face. Will stay in the field of play, now off hands and through from behind. St Mary's first score at the 14-minute mark of the first quarter, but they only trail by 2 goals. And it'll be Bradley Stokes to bring the ball back into play for the Buffaloes. To Bowles.
It's too easy, way too easy.
Plays on immediately. Hooks the kick into Williams' direction. Hits him on the chest. Looked a little wonky off the boot. Let's call it deliberate. Good pass. Got Ish Palmer, pushes off Saunders. Illegally, says the umpire. Line ball.
50.
Paid. Umpire Mark Noonan. Most experienced umpire in NTFL circles. Never gets them wrong. Tyler Saunders. He's got Long, too high for him. Maroney, captaining the Buffs today. Cameron Stokes. Over the head handball back to Maroney. Coombs overruns the footy. Maroney has a third go at it. Intercepted by Edwards. Can he cut through some traffic here? Wobbly looking kick. Shannon Rioli's excellent to Calder, who marks in the right forward pocket. Plays on quick. No thought about it. Now he goes. Vacant goal square. Calder kicks just away to the right for a behind.
It's first time we've called Shannon Rioli. We're at the 15-minute mark.
Yeah.
It's the first time he's touched the football.
There's now a change to Rick. Looks like Davies has gone on to Stafford.
Yeah, which I don't like. I reckon he's their best back when he gives them all their run, and when they've got to rejig like that, it's not good. I saw one other game where they had to put Davies back, and I didn't like it.
Coombs desperate, diving after the footy. Edwards comes up with it to Calder in the pocket. Little bit of time, squeezes the kick to Shannon Rioli. Bounced off his chest, close to the boundary line. Can't keep it in. Boundary throw in right forward pocket for St Mary's. A bit of feist comes into the game, and it's going to be turned over, so it'll be a free kick. Tim Eldridge, left back pocket, goes short to Williams. Wasn't a bad kick in the end, stays in. Still Williams goes. Edwards, Bowles, back to Williams.
Clever.
They break off half back to half forward. Sambono's trying to get into the contest. Stafford over his head. Davies spoils only as far as Shillabeer. He goes himself. He could have popped the little pass over to Sambono, and he decided to shoot on goal himself, despite the fact Sambono was running into the goal square. He's away to the right-hand side, and the margin is 2 straight goals. 16.5 gone first quarter.
Could it quite easily be 5 goals to nil, I reckon, in this game?
As you say, one of those players that's kept St Mary's a little close is Tyler Saunders, who's marked in the right back pocket. Middle Beach end of Gardens Oval. Oh, Waite flies, third up, and a push has been paid. It's going to be a Buffs free kick. And it's going to go to Jackson Clark.
Look at getting Jared Wade off just here for a 2-minute spell while he's next to the bench. I reckon the heat is getting to him.
Michael Coombs it is, in fact. Into the pocket, Joe Anderson in from the side. Beautiful pick up by Stafford. He's a player. Just as I say that, he hooks the kick and out of bounds on the full.
He's moving all right for a guy that Rob, you said did a hamstring and was out for 3 weeks.
You're
not going to let him live that one down, are you, Ricky?
Yeah.
You should see him when
I've
he's
never
fully
seen
fit.
I've never seen a bloke get over a hamstring that quick and to be moving that well.
Out it comes to half-back, Linklater. Tried to tap it along in front. Waite just trying to get a possession, has drifted up towards half-back, and he's penalised for holding the ball. Advantage paid. Atkinson wants Shillerbeer. He lets it go to Ish Palmer, and the Buffs can line up for their third goal.
On fire. Buffs, good work by Chris Atkins. Just first grabbed the footy and got it to Palmer. But I reckon Chris Atkins is coaching Buffalo's women's side. He's an outstanding coach. I reckon he's one to watch, especially in women's football. He's a very good communicator. Probably one of the best coaches going around the territory at the moment.
Ish Palmer unloads with a beautiful drop punt and kicks the Buffaloes' third goal. The margin is 18 points. Closing in on quarter time. Won't be a long quarter. 18 minutes played. 3-2 plays 2 behinds.
Yeah, they're on fire. The old Buffaloes. Just see you with Atkins just first grabs the footy here. Jared Waite struggling a bit. Atkins first grabs and then just kicks to advantage to Palmer. And he takes the simplest chess marks.
Quick update from TIO Stadium at three-quarter time. Wanderers 59, Tiwi Bombers just leading at 63. Of course, the Tiwi Bombers, if they win today, would certainly be hoping that the Buffs would lose. But at this stage, the ladder will stay where it is.
You've just got makeshift ruckmen in the Northern Territory at the moment. Well, these two guys that would have never rucked in their life playing in the ruck. It's unbelievable.
Overrunning at Jackson Payne. Bowles was busy again. Shillerbeer's having a good game. Back to Bowles. They're going inside 50 once more. Gathered by Davies. There's that hamstring. Would have caught him if he was fully fit. Up towards the wing. Bowles again. Jackson Clark. Right half forward. Stafford trying to work his way to the front. Whistle goes, a hold. And it's going to go to Tom Davies.
Just in Tiwi Bombers, like they do have good... They've got a good ruckman. Ryan Smith done a hamstring, I believe, will be out for a couple of weeks. So it's just if a side had a really big 200-metre monster of a ruckman, God, I reckon he could do some damage in the final series this year.
We've seen Lockie Howe perform well for Tiwi, haven't we? So he could be that player, Rick.
Yeah, actually, he did qualify, didn't he? Played for, he'd want to play today, though, I think.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that could be the difference for Tiwi. I honestly believe there's a very big shortage of ruckmen in this competition at the moment.
Mackenzie and Parry. Kenzie won it. Shannon Rioli tackled by Coombs. And it'll be a ball up. So dying stages of the first quarter. 20 minutes played. It's 3-2 to 2 behinds. Buffaloes third on the ladder, up against St Mary's second. A win by Buffs today, and they grab that double chance. And these two sides will do it all again next week in the qualifying final.
Deep.
Shannon Rioli kicks to Edwards. One-hander. Was it a deliberate tap to Johnston? Johnston dribbles one through for the first goal to St Mary's. And we'll check that replay. I'm not sure whether Edwards went to market. He's a clever player. It might have been a deliberate tap. And Saints get back within 2 goals with that late goal in the first term.
St Mary's have gone in deep once for 1 goal. If there's Anthony Villada should get this vision now, put it on an iPad and show this deep entry. St Mary's have got gun big forwards. If they do this a little bit more, 1 deep entry, 1 goal. Please take some note.
That looked deliberate to me. That was very clever play by Sean Edwards. Johnston sliding by. It was a marking contest, 1-on-1. And rather than try and grab it, Edwards with his right hand just palmed it into the path of Johnston for a terrific goal. So Buffs, despite having all the play, lead by just 2 goals. Colin Wilson and Jalen Clark wrestling off the ball in the centre square. Mackenzie won the tap. Whistle goes just as Campbell runs on. Advantage has been paid. Stafford comes out on the lead. On the bounce, can't grab it. Had Davies for company. Jake Long kicks out in the direction of Jackson Payne. At right half back, he looks to go. Kicks up towards half forward. Too high for Morris Rioli Jr. And Eldridge takes the mark for the Buffs. Kicks in looking for Campbell. Paredes does well to create a contest. Seaton Kurnoth, though, runs onto the footy. He's 60 from goal. Kicks in towards the goal square. Stafford spoiled away superbly. Labastida shakes and shimmies and gets away with a handball to Jake Long. Long from inside defensive 50. Kicks up towards the wing. Colin Wilson met the other way there by Sean Armat. Good contest by those 2 players. It's out of bounds.
Yeah, Tom Davies doing a good... Hats off to St Mary's defence. They've been absolutely terrific this quarter. Jake Long mopping that up. Tom Davies just got a finger on it to bring the ball to ground.
Seaton Kurnoth. Clever handball. Some space for Jackson Clark to work into. Sambono wrestling there with Jake Long. What a contest that is. Awkward bounce. Comes to Braxton Armat on the left boot. He started in the ruck. He's drifted down into defence. Jackson Clark in front of Linklater. Linklater does well, pushes him off the ball, comes back to Paredes. Another chance here for St Mary's. Morris Rioli Jr., 70 from goal, kicks long, vacant square. Johnston all alone can turn around and bank through his second, stumbles but gets it. And St Mary's are within a goal. 2-2, plays 3-2. 22, nearly 23 minutes gone first quarter.
Wow, 2 deep entries, 2 goals. I hope that is the theme of their talk at quarter time. Linklater, pretty good effort there on the wing. He won a one-on-one and then got the ball to the centre. Young kid, just come through the juniors. He wasn't in these flash thunder programs and all that sort of stuff. He was there my last year. Works his backside off and works really, really hard, and I'm glad to see him get rewarded. So it doesn't mean that you've got to win under 18 flags or you've got to be in thunder programs to play senior football. So, and well done to Anthony Vallejo on giving him a go, because he's just persisted. We're 1 week out from finals, and he can put his hand up and be playing finals footy next week, hopefully.
Atkinson back on, won the tap. Campbell will be a little bit worried by the last few minutes from his Buffaloes team. Jalen Clark fumbles the footy. Campbell overruns it. Good pressure from Daly, and it comes to that player. He hooks the kick around. Morris Rioli Jr. A few Buffaloes around him. Eldridge tried to tap it to his own advantage. He's going to be penalised for a throw. Whoa.
Well, they were on there too.
Mark Noonan was right beside that contest. You've got to put trust in Mark Noonan. Rioli, opportunity here for Paredes. Beautifully weighted kick, and Paredes marks 60 from goal at right half forward, right on the siren. And before he could get his kick away, the hooter blows to call an end to the first quarter. St Mary's finished strongly. They trail by 6 points at the first break.
At the base when it was like at my head. It was cool. Yeah.
Welcome back to TIO Stadium where it's quarter time. St Mary's 2-2-14 and the Darwin Buffaloes 3-2-20. Matt Hepworth, Ricky Nolan and Rob Cross with the second quarter underway.
Jared Waite thrown into the ruck for St Mary's, won that tap and got them forward straight away. But it's going to be a free kick to the Buffs. So between fullback and centre half back. Cossack's kick to the wing. Atkinson, Payne does well. Had a pretty good purchase of it, not paid. Daly socket off the ground. Eldridge, the underground handball, wonderfully clever. Well, it's set for Anderson. He slaps it back only as far as Jacob Long. Daly, solid. Kicks towards half forward. Out comes Larson. Brilliant spoil away. And out of bounds by Cossack.
Cossack moved to Buffaloes this year after 100 games at Nightcliff. Lives in Katherine, plays for Eastside in the Katherine competition where he's a premiership player with his 4 other brothers. But this is his first year at the Buffaloes Football Club. Be a handy inclusion come finals time. I think he's only played about 3 senior games and about 3 or 4 in the Div 1.
Waite up against Atkinson. Jackson Payne for Waite. Paredes lays a tackle on Atkinson. Armat. Williams left the ball behind. Cheek. Sold Paredes into trouble. Good enough to get the kick away. Inside attacking 50. 10 on 10 Rioli. Infringed against by Bradley Stokes. Over the shoulder. And Shannon Rioli, Saints captain, has an early chance, maybe. Perhaps a little bit too far to score. Stokes is on the 50.
Yeah, I don't reckon early in the game, I don't reckon distance will be an issue. We'll see.
Certainly taking his time.
Wouldn't have been 3 years ago. He would have. But he's looking around, so he's not looking too confident.
Pokes it in towards the pocket. Beautiful pass and Waite offered a strong lead. And Jared Waite, he picked at Ricky Nolan, doesn't waste any time. Curls it around, doesn't bring it back enough, and it goes through across the face for a behind. But Waite's looked dangerous. He started in the ruck, went forward, picked out well by Shannon Rioli.
Interesting then, we were having a conversation with NT News journalist Gray Morris, who's behind us in an air-conditioned box, which I'm not happy about. We're out in the sun. Gray Morris is sitting in an air-conditioned box. Yeah, we're talking about just Nightcliff. They've got another gear, but I still reckon Saints can win it if they can get the ball deep to Jared Waite. I do think he can turn it on in a final where no one in this competition will stop him.
Well done again by Tyler Saunders. Knocked it away from Ishmael Palmer. But the Buffs turn it back up towards half forward. Wonderful pick up by Jake Long, and he's happy, like all good defenders, to see it out over the boundary line.
And Ricky, talking about the secret to Saints' success at the moment, we saw for probably 20 minutes in the first quarter a lot of fumbling in the midfield, but when they get deep forward entries quickly, that's when they got those 2 goals in the dying minutes of the first quarter.
Especially Calder's another. He's a very good player who really hasn't touched it much today, but they've got some cattle up forward. They've just got to get it into them quickly.
Anderson, Daly, Parry. Back to Jackson Payne of St Mary's. Hacks a kick forward up towards right half forward. Brilliantly gathered by Linklater. He wastes no time. Kicks it in towards the pocket. Johnston up against Pendlebury. Johnston centering ball. No one in the goal square. Trickles across the face. Eldridge with his pace. Rioli right there with him. A little nudge and pushes him out of bounds. Well played by Rioli. Boundary throw in left forward pocket for St Mary's. Mindle Beach end of Gardens Oval.
I was saying, you got Calder, Waite, Morris Rioli, Shannon Rioli, Leroy Larson. It's a decent forward line. Just got to get it in there really, really quickly. And I don't know, I've got a Waite man crush being a North Melbourne supporter, but it just is a weapon.
Linklater lays a strong tackle on Coombs. A lovely handball over the head. Came to Moroney for the Buffaloes. Back into the middle. Wonderful strength by Braxton Matt. Got rid of Shillabeer. Took the mark on his chest. Kicks out in Calder's direction. Tahana there as well. Calder can't get to it. And out of bounds. Right half forward for Saints, 55 around from goal.
And that's what we talk about. I know he probably didn't conduct it with Braxton Matt, didn't pull off his skills probably, but that's not a deep entry. There's a sideward entry towards a 50. Like, get the ball to the top of the square and put Buffs under some real pressure.
Parry won the tap. Bowles taps it to himself and handballs to himself. A little jumper pull. The umpire sees it. Well positioned and Bowles. He's doing well for the Buffs as he has all season. Wins a free kick just defensive side of centre. Outer side.
Might be a Nichols Metal Smoky, I reckon, Bowles.
Buffs have had a good year. They're third on the ladder at the moment, and a win will guarantee that entry into the finals next week. Palmer. Saunders again. Ground level low. Palmer mops up. Wants Shillabeer. Slides in. Bounces off his chest, and Braxton Matt boots it off the ground. Bounces once and goes out of bounds on the outer side.
Good decision, well done.
Played deliberate.
We're not here to watch boundary throw-ins. We want to watch the game play. So, outstanding decision.
Sadly, after some poor behaviour in previous weeks, Black Plastic's actually gone up against that back fence there with some unfortunate behaviour on the other side of Gardens Oval here.
Clark to Stafford. Couldn't take the mark. Campbell. Stafford. Well tackled. Back to Shillabeer. He's 50 from goal. Centering kick to the square. Sambono in from the side, but a great spoil over the top by Jackson Payne. Through for a rush behind.
Well done, Payne. Just concede the point and then just reset. Well done.
Margin back to a goal. 2-3 plays 3-3. 6 minutes gone, second quarter. A low-scoring match, as the last one was. Just, I think, less than 10 goals both sides in St Mary's 14-point win. Kick to Larson. In front, Coombs. Cossack there as well. Coombs. Socket off the ground by Jacob Long. Eldridge. Whistle. Holding. Free kick. Eldridge and Jacob Long exchanging pleasantries. Tim Eldridge has had a good game.
Yeah, it'd be good if this bloke gets back into form. I know he had a year off, but he hasn't had the greatest of years at his standards, but playing well today. Well, this bloke can nearly hit this.
Lovely kick. Oh, he's got it to Sambono. Could have potentially let it go in the goal square. Wonderful kick by Campbell. And Sambono for his first goal of the afternoon. He's played 2 Premier League games this season. Round 1 against the TIO Bombers. Who would have thought, given the TIO Bombers are in contention for top 3, that the Buffs won by 113 points and this man kicked 12. Gets his first of the afternoon and the Buffs back out to a 2-goal lead.
He probably gets sick of me saying it, but Matt Campbell turns straight away quickly, gets it quickly into a one-on-one. It just makes a big difference. It's a good matchup, and Jake Long and Sambono. It's been interesting to watch. So.
Start and finish the season well, Sambono, if he keeps that up.
He's only played 2 games.
Yeah,
so
that's what I mean. Yeah.
There wasn't much in between.
Nothing in between, but you can start well. Was it bag of 12 in the first game, Rob?
12. You look at, you mentioned St Mary's star-studded forward line. Rick Shillabeer, Palmer, Stafford, Sambono, Matty Campbell, Bowles. They're the 6 inside the forward 50 for the Darwin Buffaloes. Pretty handy. McKenzie and Parry. McKenzie won the tap. Seaton Kunoth. Payne overran it. He might get another crack. Seaton Kunoth, tackled by Linklater, who's had a terrific match so far. Payne dives in over the top. Ball up.
A bit of talk about the standard of NTFL football is always going to go back with the fly-in and backwards in the fly-in and the points rules. But come finals, there's not too many average footballers running around here. Like, these are 2 fairly decent sides.
Well gathered by Seaton Kunoth. Wants Campbell. Daly right there with him. Campbell holds his ground. Braxton Armat comes in to lay the tackle. Tried to paddle it to Ish Palmer. Shillabeer in there. Campbell turns back the years. Kicks it in towards the pocket. Stafford on the lead. Brilliant play, Matty Campbell.
The hamstring might have gone there, Rob.
Well, it looks a bit proppy, and this is what happened in the third quarter last week. You see what I mean?
Let's see.
Cramp, maybe, gentlemen, just to mediate things in the middle here. Take the boxing gloves off.
If there's anything wrong with it, I'd get him off because he's too good of a player. But
from 30 metres out, 45-degree angle for his second goal, and a 3-goal lead to the Buffaloes. To the city end, stabs it through. Well played, Buffs. They're starting the second quarter like they started the first and lead by 18 points.
Yeah, they probably got away with a bit of robbery, Saints. I thought in the first quarter it'd just be 1 goal down, but Buffs have started how they were in that first quarter. So, talking about that forward line, looks like now Cameron Stokes, ex-Hawthorn AFL player's gone there. Or no, he's just swapped wings and gone to Morris, or gone to Fiera on the other wing.
Over at TIO Stadium, and it looks like the TIO Bombers have pretty well wrapped up their win up against Wanderers, 98 to the Wanderers 74 in the dying minutes of the fourth quarter.
So Buffs must win this game to finish third, is that correct?
Yep.
It also rules out, by virtue of that win to Tiwi's Southern District's late hopes of grabbing a top 3 spot. So as it stands at the moment, still be the Buffs who'd have third, but there's a long way to go in this match. Calder. Cossack, they came at him from every direction. Tahana cuts back through traffic. Has a bounce from centre half back. Kicks towards centre half forward with a wobbler, but Campbell's been dangerous this quarter. Daly did well coming the other way. Coombs met him though. Sambono Back to Morris Rioli Jr. Thumps it back towards centre half forward for Saints at the Mindle Beach end of the ground. Out comes Colin Wilson. He's been impressive. Traps the footy. Around the corner he's got Calder. Some space here for St Mary's to work in. 55 out, centering ball. Hooked it a little bit too far. Came back to Ferreira. Kick smothered. Bounces to about 30 metres from goal. Out comes Sean Edwards. Handball back to Paredes. Doesn't mind these. From 40 metres, Nathan Paredes is away to the right. Had some time. And it's a behind only, the margin, 17 points. I'm not sure Sean Edwards is all that fit, Ricky. He looked a bit hurt in that first quarter, about halfway through. They've sent him forward.
It's not good because he, by far, and I mean by a country mile, played his best game ever for the St Mary's Footy Club last week.
He was unbelievable. Linklater's got to beat three. He's making a pretty good fist of it. Finally, Coombs, still Linklater. Coombs got it to Jalen Clark. Clever eventually. Morris Rioli lays a tackle on McKenzie. Kick comes in towards centre half forward. A push, a hold. It's going to the Buffs. Will advantage be paid? Campbell into the goal square. Another one of the Buffs. They lead by 23 points. 11 minute gone, second quarter.
Yeah, Linklater was fairly good here on the wing in a 3-on-1, and Morris Rioli Jr. come to help him. Unfortunately, fairly good's not acceptable at senior level. He was pretty good, but he wasn't able to get a boundary throw in. That if he just had held it up, it was a good effort. But then they got it in deep, and Matt Campbell is playing some very good football. I reckon these two sides have played at Gardens Oval once in the last 15 years.
Wow.
It was a game I remember very, very fondly because I was coaching it, and Matt Campbell absolutely destroyed us that day. He single-handedly won the game for Buffs. So he might be a bit of a Gardens Oval specialist, and Buffs might be a bit of a Gardens Oval specialist. So it was only about 3 years ago, and Matty Campbell played as good a game of NTFL footy I've ever seen.
Payne had it a long, long time and eventually gets it for over the shoulder. Tackle slipped up over the shoulder.
Deep.
He goes that way. Out comes Johnston. The wrestle, spoil away, some holding going on. Free kick to Johnston.
This puts defenders under pressure.
Goes against Pendlebury. So a chance for a quick reply. Buffs leading by 23 points, 12 minutes gone, second quarter. Just off screen, Jared Waite comes back on, replacing Parry.
Looks a bit proppy.
They're just hanging in, Saints, but you know they've got the ability to finish strongly, so Buffs will have to be careful. Johnston kicks this. It's back to a 17-point margin. Johnston's looked pretty good today. That's his third goal. In fact, he's kicked every one of St Mary's goals.
Yeah, we were talking about gears before. I reckon Saints are in second gear, so they've still got to. They go up a couple of cogs, and they're right. And they're not out of the game. They're right in this game of footy. So
6-3 to 3-4.
got a good Payne, Shannon Rioli, and Paredes. So three of their best players have gone into the middle.
Looks like Johnston's come in to do the ruck.
Yeah, which is good. Have a look at him, see if he's any good at it. Buffs have got some decent players in there as well with Anderson and Williams and young Kernoff, who would be a chance for a rising star this year, I think.
Johnston and Atkinson. Johnston won it.
Well done,
Atkinson.
Chris Atkinson, great second effort.
On his left boot to Shillabeer at centre half forward. One hand to it. Braxton Armat. Palmer back to Shillabeer. Thumping boot on him. Doesn't strike it too cleanly. And it'll just... No, out of bounds on the full.
Probably a win for Buffs, able to keep the ball in there a little bit easier. Oh, goal umpire should get reported for that. I reckon that's about 2 weeks. Tom Davies, I just hope he didn't get a serious injury from it.
So Davies in the left back pocket. City end of Gardens Oval.
I hope that goes to the match review during the week, that.
Labastida. Switches play to the outer side. The hard-running Davies. No serious injuries. That'll count in the goal umpire's favour, though, Rick.
He's tough, though, that umpire. Very tough. I've seen him before get straight up after a contest.
Stafford's hamstrings standing up. Wants a teammate. Spins back on the left boot. Centering kick. Campbell. Braxton Armat running back with a flight. Takes the mark. Shillabeer just hung off him. Let him get into the drop zone. St Mary's bring it out the grandstand side. Ferreira. Cheek makes space. They're coming from every way.
Wow.
Into the lap of Eldridge, runs to 40, and the Buffs get the goal. They're seventh, and they lead by 23 points.
It's the turnover by the young fella. Good of Shannon Rioli to get over him. Just an execution. It's just a young fella turn the footy over. And The nephew of Buffalo's greatest ever player, Ninny Briston, in Timmy Eldridge, kicks a goal. Ninny Briston is his uncle, and probably one of Buffalo's greatest ever players. But he's getting in a bit of form, Tim, at the right time of the year.
Missed him badly last year, went down with a serious back injury, missed most of the season. And it really told, because he's one of those players which links them through the ground with his hard running, end to end. So back in the middle, in the hands of umpire Mark Noonan. Can they hold this lead towards half-time? St Mary's came hard late in the second quarter. Good to see Sean Edwards back in the middle for St Mary's. Anderson, the former Carlton AFL player, inside attacking 50. Campbell taps into the path of Shillabeer, who goes off the ground out towards Sam Bono, pushing and shoving there with Jacob Long. Long runs back onto it, still Long, grabs the footy, does well to Tyler Saunders. And they team well again, St Mary's. Braxton Armat, back to Long. Has time to step around Armat.
Well done against St Mary's defence, very well done.
Kicks towards half forward, but Bradley Stokes read it best. There are a few St Mary's jumpers around the footy there.
Shannon Rioli was 2 metres behind his man then, which was Stokes who cleared the ball out of defence.
Ball is out of bounds on the Botanic Garden side of Gardens Oval. Jalen Clark waiting there with Lachlan McKenzie to come back on for the Buffs. Very hot day here. It's a wet season that's come in fits and starts up here in the top end. Johnston won the tap. Here comes Payne. Didn't waste any time. Threw the ball onto his boot. Calder back with a flight. Drops the chest mark. Opens the door for the Buffs. Eldridge handballs to himself. Heavy bump from Cheek. And a little bit too high, rules the umpire. It's taken a bit of skin off Eldridge. Winded him.
I don't think there's any malice in it.
It's good tough footy from Cheek. It's about 4 times wider than Timmy Eldridge, I reckon. He's solidly built.
Josh Cheek's in the army, so pretty fit character. Spends a bit of time in the gym as well.
I think it's been reported, Rick.
Yeah, I don't think there's much malice in it. But
Boy had the book out.
It still does, yeah.
2 of them have got him.
I see 2 books out, yeah.
Gives Tim Eldridge a chance to suck in the big breaths. So we're about to catch on the replay just to see exactly what happened shortly. But from the left back pocket, it's Tim Eldridge. He's kicked a goal for the Buffs, who lead by 23 points at the 17.5-minute mark of the second quarter. Eldridge down the Botanic Gardens wing. The spoil. Ahmed over the top to Bowles. Steps around Saunders on the left boot. Bowles in towards the pocket. Stafford on the bounce. Traps it. Davies comes at him. Handball. Fakes the handball back to Campbell. Centering ball to Ahmed. Couldn't control the mark. Has backup though from Chris Williams from 50 metres. Hooks it though and just sneaks in from behind. 4 goals the lead to the Buffs. Jake Long, former Bomber. Colin Wilson in front. Maroney from behind. Spoils down to Jackson Clark. Cheek comes in with a bump, did well. Cleared a path for Colin Wilson, who kicks inside attacking 50. Waite's got the sit. Well spoiled away though by Pendlebury. Going to ground was Rioli. Coming through Bradley Stokes. Rode the bump. Cossack over the top to Jackson Clark. Back to Maroney. Larson came at him. Maroney's kick up towards half forward. Coombs off hands to Bowles. Jalen Clark just impeded momentarily by Johnston. Gets it on the left boot to McKenzie. He's got a bit of space. Runs to 60. Long kick. Who's there? Sambono. Stafford in front. Couldn't complete the mark. Labastida was good. Back to Payne. They've been terrific in defence, St Mary's, and they might be again as Long handballs to himself, Gaelic footy style, and will somehow just keep it in play. Pretty good result by St Mary's. It's at right half forward for the Buffs.
Correct. They're in a world of hurt. You just wanted to get it, even if it had gone out of the full, you just want to get it out of that danger zone. So again, well done St Mary's defence.
Johnston's done pretty well since going into the ruck. Against McKenzie. Flipped over the back to Bowles. Cop one high. And the umpire, Mark Noonan, was right there to pay the free kick. 60 from goal. He'll kick from inside the centre square.
He's doing some pretty good TV commercials lately, Mark Noonan. He's quite a good actor.
Bowles into the pocket. Sambono. Palmer from the side. Couldn't bring the ball to ground. Payne to Daly to Edwards.
Inside Tory that he might out.
Edwards over the footy. Got to be careful. Bowles out to Shillabeer. Coming the other way, though, is Paredes. Still a chance for the Buffs. Jackson Clark sidesteps Payne, then thumps long to the top of the square. Stafford stands and waits. Goes up off his hands.
Touch it?
And, yeah, Stafford got hands to it. It trickles through before Ish Palmer could get it. Another behind to the Buffs. They lead by 25 points. 20 minutes gone in the second quarter.
Buffs just relentless at the moment. Saints, their defence is just holding back the floodgates.
The amount of opportunity. Tom Davies done a good job on Stafford. He's had a lot of opportunities, just keeps getting fist to it. If Jared Waite had those opportunities come a final, or this week, I think the story would be different. Just got to get the ball in there a bit more.
Well controlled by Shillabeer. Threw the ball onto his boot, running back with the flight. That was Tom Davies. Terrific defender, Tom Davies.
I reckon he may win St Mary's best and fairest at the end of the year. Davies has been absolutely terrific.
The right back pocket at the city end. Kicks out of defensive 50. Maroney in front. Over the top, Wake. Spoiled away. Neat kick by Paredes. Here's danger for the Buffs. Ferreira runs onto it. Couldn't quite control it. Good shepherd by Linklater. But taken down there by Eldridge. And Eldridge wins the free kick. Gets bumped over late. Not much in it. Well played, Eldridge. St Mary's are away at right half forward. And the Buffs through Jackson Clark. Now will he keep it in just? Try and transition down the outer side. Short ball to Jalen Clark. Play on's the call. Not a great kick given he had a bit of time. Shillaby was good enough to scoop it up. Pendlebury's kick in the Ishmael Palmer direction. Tyler Saunders has been wonderful. Works his way off half back and kicks it up towards the wing. Back to Ferreira. And Ferreira marks. And finds Linklater. St Mary's, steady build down the outer side through Linklater. Kicks to Leroy Larson, all alone and unattended. Marks in front of Cossack, and that was probably the easiest passage of play all afternoon for St Mary's. And the Buffs might concede a late goal here.
Keeps getting a bit of footy, Linklater. It'd be good if he just continues to put pressure on the coaching staff to play him next week. Remember a long time ago, I had a player one day in the last game of the year, he didn't try too much, and he said, I knew you were going to drop me next week. We had all the Thunder players coming back. You got to put the heat on the coach. You play well, play that well that you can't be dropped. And I reckon Linklater's doing that at the moment. He's just having a crack, getting the footy. Hopefully, he puts pressure on the coaches where they can't drop him.
Larson from 45 metres got under it a bit, and it goes through for a behind. So needed that goal, St Mary's. 22 minutes gone, second quarter. The margin is 24 points the Buffs' way.
It also puts your club in a really healthy position when you've got your bottom 8 really pushing up for your bottom 8 of your 22, really playing good footy and putting pressure on.
Bradley Stokes, laconic kick out. And the free kick's going to be paid to St Mary's.
Great closing speed. Morris Rioli's closing speed there was terrific. I'm not sure what the free kick was for, but
Colin Wilson it is. Kicked a goal on debut last week.
Maybe look around, young fella. You got Jared Waite and 2 ex-AFL players in Payne down there. Maybe look to getting the ball in. Looks like he's pretty confident with the distance, though.
Oh, you think, Rick, but it was a pretty lazy kicking, I thought. Just sort of plonked it out there without any real thought. Yeah. So Wilson to bring the margin back to 3 goals from 50. It's swinging back. Oh, he's got it. As he on the line, it was touched. Pretty good effort. Kicking to the Mindle Beach end. Swirling ball down there.
There's another same kick. This time it's a bit better.
Finds Mackenzie for the Buffs. Margin is 23, 7-5 to 3-6. Cossack. Linklater again does wonderfully well. The shaggy head one kicks to Waite. Up he goes one-handed. Spoiled away by Bradley Stokes. Comes to Calder. Jackson Clark. Back to Mackenzie. Waite comes at him. Mackenzie some poise. Sends it out to the left back pocket and Jackson Clark. The Buffaloes can clear. Anderson marks right on the half-time hooter. The sick chook that it sounds, but at half-time here at Gardens Oval, 7-5-47 Darwin. St Mary's 3-6-24.
That was a movie that would be so easy. We're free to leave that door open anytime. I locked you in.
really?
Hey, can we have some?
Someone will give you.
No, do you want a drink?
Someone will give you.
No, it's down.
Someone will dig him up. Hey, we'll dig through his body to take his money. That's what they have. Yes. When you do your little
Welcome back to Gardens Oval on a sticky afternoon in the top end, and it is round 18, the final round of the TIO NTFL season before finals, and these teams all but guaranteed to play probably again next week, with Saints 3-6-24, Darwin Buffaloes 7-5-47 at half-time. Matt Hepworth, Ricky Nolan and Rob Cross this afternoon. Ricky, thoughts on the first half?
Yeah, I reckon Buffs will probably. Geez, that siren's a little bit sick. Yeah, Buffs probably could be a little bit further ahead, but Saints just hanging in there.
Persevering with Johnston in the ruck, won the tap. Coombs taken to ground by Jake Long illegally, said the umpire, being held onto. Michael Coombs had a good game. He's been pushing and shoving with Jackson Payne for most of it. And Payne has been noticeably quieter as Atkinson did well, the big ruckman.
Spread pretty well from the contest, so they're just gone a bit too wide, Buffs, for my liking, though.
Kick smothered, and it will go out of bounds. One of the good things sitting in the grandstand in the open air today, Rick, interacting with the fans, and we met Riley Linklater's dad, who tells us that he's hoping that Riley will get a crack with McLeod in the, I think it's the Northern League, used to be the Diamond Valley League in Melbourne this year. Will make 3 generations of Linklaters to play in that competition.
Wow.
For that club.
I have to keep an eye on that. My brother's coaching Heidelberg in that same competition. So.
Very strong part of Melbourne footy, those northern suburbs. Johnston, Atkinson nudged him out of the contest. Johnston comes in and lays a tackle, but it's high. His work rate's good though, Johnston. In the absence of Ryan Smith, the star ruckman. He's been thrown into the ruck. He's kicked 3 goals as well. They're only 3 goals, so he's doing it all today. As Chris Williams, 60 from goal at right half forward. Centering ball, Stafford on the lead. Up he goes in front, one
Good
clunk.
hands.
What a magnificent mark. Stafford can line up for his 3rd.
Fair grab. just gave Johnson a rap, but as a ruckman, you just got to get back and give a contest on that. So it was always going to go to Stafford. Just got to get back and chop some arms, get punched in the back of the head, whatever. You just got to get back and chop it off.
For his 38th goal for the season.
With a broken hamstring.
38 reference.
From 20 metres, Stafford doesn't miss too many. Great start to the third quarter by the Buffs as they try and lock in third spot on the ladder. Tiwi has beaten Wanderers today, Matty Hepworth, which means at the moment, if the Buffs don't win today, it'll be Tiwi versus St Mary's in the qualifying final next week. But a handy lead to the Buffs. It's out to 29 points.
Sort of funny with the Buffs, I was again talking to Gray Morris, the NT News chief writer. He's behind us in an air-conditioned box while we're out in the sun. But watch Buffs' last two games, and those against Palmerston and Waratahs. They were terrible game of football, and I thought Buffs and I just didn't think they were playing real good at footy. And Tiwi, I thought were up and about, and I would have thought they were in a lot better position than what Buffs are. It looks like Buffs are now playing good footy and going to jump into that third spot.
Atkinson won the tap. Paredes, not the normal prolific Paredes we used to today, Rick.
Nah, he hasn't. He's won the last three best and fairest. No one in the history of the St Mary's Football Club's ever done that. So his standards are ridiculously high.
Some holding going on.
I don't like that decision. Just let the big boys go at it.
Johnston wins the free kick against Atkinson. Lovely long kick. That's what Ricky Nolan loves to see. Called it back with the flight. One hand up against Tahana. Wait, slick hands to Shannon Rioli from 20 metres. Great goal, Saints. Well worked inside 50, and Shannon Rioli gets the quick reply. The margin back to 23.
We're an hour and a bit more into this game of football. St Mary's have had 4 deep entries for the game for 4 goals. So imagine if they can get 14 inside 50s, 8 of them deep to Jarrett Waite. I know I might be crazy, but I just think they can win the premiership. So they've just got to get that there, just cut the vision up of the 4 goals that they've kicked today and said, hey guys, when we do this, these are the results. So they've just got to go in a lot deeper.
Loving their centre square combo. Johnston in the ruck, Paredes, Jake Long, Jackson Payne. It's almost as good as it gets, I reckon. Rival Nightcliffe's engine room. Mark Noonan tosses it up. Well done by Atkinson. Here's Jackson Payne on the left boot in front of the jumper. Tug Rioli not paid. Leroy Larson taken to ground by Joe Anderson. Fights on at ground level. Slaps it forward to Jalen Clark. Picks it up, bumped off the footy. The intensity's lifted by St Mary's. Well done by Rioli. Umpire will come in and ball it up inside the centre square.
I reckon Johnson, in the ruck might be his go. He might be a first ruckman or a backup ruckman.
Jalen Clark taps it back to Atkinson. High kick in towards the middle. Shillabeer bumped off the footy by Braxton Armat. Paredes getting busy. Steps around Armat. Has a bounce. Thumps it in the Jarrett Waite direction. From behind, spoiled away by Pendlebury. Hasn't played enough games to qualify for Buffs finals. He's a big body, and the Buffs will have to find someone to fill that role. The left foot down the line is intercepted by Jackson Payne, who possibly could have marked it in the end. Went for the defensive spoil and sees it out of bounds. 5 minutes gone, third quarter. St Mary's trail by 23 points. St Mary's can't be booted out of second place. They're 3 games clear of the Buffs coming into this game. Nightcliffe, of course, the defending premier's top spot. Only 1 loss all year. That was to St Mary's. Paredes, ton of possession 5 minutes into this third quarter after a quietish first half. Bit of tunnelling, diving in.
Deep, go deep.
Low kick intercepted by Pendlebury. He thumps it back towards the wing. Campbell, well done by Daly. Slides in from the side for St Mary's.
Slowly improved, hasn't he, since the season's gone on?
Yeah, very good player. Campbell taps it away from Jake Long. Where's Stafford? Has it got the carry? Unlike Matty Campbell, not to meet his target coming the other way, just at the bootlaces of Stafford. Braxton Armat bounces away. Well done by Seaton Kunoth, stood in the way. Going off the ground, but intercepted there by Armat. And Ferreira unable to keep it in. So probably a win there for the Buffs in the end as St Mary's threatened to turn it over down the grandstand side.
I just thought Matty Campbell, usually when he's got 2 metres on his opponent, he hits Stafford lace out. So probably a little bit lucky in that way as well, Saints.
Bit Bit of a let off. Mackenzie, Johnston, Mackenzie, bowls, clever, towed it through and played it to his own advantage. Coombs, handball to Eldridge, set him a task. Ferreira comes hard, but watch Eldridge's pace and he burns away and kicks it inside, attacking 50. Sambono's been quiet, only one goal. Tyler Saunders has been terrific. Sambono has another go. Saunders goes to groundish. Palmer, close to the boundary line, out of bounds.
Saunders as well, he's been probably his best game, although he's pretty good last week as well, but just coming into form at the right time of the year.
Right forward pocket for the Buffaloes, Mindle Beach end of Gardens Oval. Important part of the match, early stages, third quarter. Buffs are holding a 4-goal lead. St Mary's are working back into the contest. Johnston, Paredes goes to ground, plays for the free kick. Whistle doesn't come. Socket off the ground by Bowles. Campbell, Payne, still a chance. Wonderful tackle. Socket off the ground by St Mary's. Out back into the centre square. Shannon Rioli. Intercepted though by Armat. Sold it to Moroney, who was in trouble. Clever handball by Shannon Rioli to Morris Rioli Jr. Kicks up towards half forward. Calder comes out. Gets it at the second attempt. He's got Waite one-on-one with Pendlebury. And he's taken an age and he still hasn't delivered it.
Oh my God.
Now he goes out wide. Ricky Nolan can't believe it. Comes to Ferreira, gliding by is Edwards, goes to him now. He's 55 from goal. Sean Edwards lines up from the boundary line and kicks a behind.
St Mary's Footy Club are wasting a lot of money and a lot of time not getting the ball to Jared Waite. He's one-on-one in the square. Get him the ball. The bloke is a superstar.
He's still probably just about the best one-on-one player in any level of Aussie rules competition.
Amateur football apart playing for St Kevin's last year. They reckon you couldn't get near him. And the Saints just won't kick him the ball.
Pendlebury. Long ball to Ish Palmer. Saunders right beside him. Palmer taken off the footy, but the ball goes out of bounds.
I'm saying they've said a lot of money. I know for an absolute 100% fact that Jared Waite's playing for this club for free. So he's probably 2 years ago playing for $500,000 for the North Melbourne Footy Club. Now playing for free, but with airfares and that, they've just got to use him a lot more.
Buffs holding St Mary's at bay at the moment. Mackenzie. Ish Palmer. Saunders wonderfully worked again. Payne. Jake Long. Back to Payne. Tried to sweep the handball out to Paredes. He has another go. Morris Rioli Jr. comes up with the footy. Jalen Clark. Still Rioli Jr. goes in after the footy. Moroney. Seaton Kunoth. Payne with a good collision. Into Josh Cheek from the boundary line. Josh Cheek hooks it back for a wonderful goal. St Mary's are back in the contest. That's their 5th goal. And the margin back to 16 points.
He's a very good user of the football, Josh Cheek, but that, by any standard, is a terrific goal on the left foot. Spinning around, we'll watch the replay here, but he's got good skills, the boy from the Army, and from 45 out on a difficult angle, you don't get much better than that.
Quick update on other games this afternoon, and Tiwi Bombers, well, they've locked in their spot again for finals, of course, defeating the Wanderers earlier this afternoon at TIO Stadium, and a short time ago was Southern Districts 8-6-54, leading Waratahs 3-1-19. So, of course, Southern Districts, the other team, all locked in for finals. Kicking off next week, gentlemen.
Maybe sensing the danger, Matty Campbell, Buffs coach, has gone into the middle, the experienced North Melbourne AFL player. Wonderful tap by Mackenzie. Flipped behind his head into the path of Campbell. High kick to Shillabeer. He's being held by Braxton Armat. The experienced Shillabeer wins a free kick. He's a thumping kick. Just trying to work out which way the wind's blowing. It's swirly from 60 metres. Sets it up. Sambono, Stafford and Palmer dropped the mark. He had a pretty good purchase on it. It's spilt down and the 3 big forwards unable to control the footy. That's a lovely kick out from full back by Jacob Long onto the chest of Payne.
Good unlucky Palmer, he nearly unlaced that ball, didn't he?
Jackson Payne at right half back. Intensity stepping up in the third quarter. Buffs need to win to grab third spot. Cossack squeezed it out to Campbell. Back to Tahana. Rioli laid the tackle, but Campbell came up with it. That's a better pass, although Mackenzie drops the mark. Slippery footy on a warm day here in Darwin. Boundary thrown at left half forward for the Buffs, who lead by 16 points, 11 minutes gone. Last time these sides met in round 11, Buffs led by 11 points at half time. St Mary's ran over the top of them and won by 14 points. Punch back towards the boundary line before Ferreira could get it for St Mary's.
Less than 3 goals in it, so it's still game on. So probably important next 5 minutes.
Most goals that St Mary's kicked in their 2 wins over the Buffs this year has been 12, so they've been pretty low-scoring contests. Seaton Kurnoff, Parry lays the pressure. This is a battle here. Linklater's been terrific. He's up against Jackson Clark. 1-on-1 contest. Tahana comes at him. Linklater. Tahana, though, 2-on-1 wins out. Tahana scoops it up. Tackle came late from Jake Long. Tahana's kick up towards Sam Bono. Keeps it in front of him. Clever tap backwards. Shillabeer's kick inboard is excellent to Williams. Well played by the Buff. Sambono, well, Williams potentially could have given it off to Sambono. There's no one in front of him, and he could have strolled into 25 and maybe drilled it. But Chris Williams is an experienced player.
Good effort by Tahana. He just spread better than everyone else in the contest to cause a 2v1. Played AFL or VFL football for Collingwood. And last year he played 17 games for Sandringham in the VFL, so he obviously can play a bit.
Chris Williams away to the left. I think he's another one of those players, though, unfortunately.
No,
like
he
Pendlebury, who can't qualify.
This
is
is
that right?
his 6th game.
It is.
And he qualifies for finals.
Right.
Yeah.
So that miss from Williams pushes the margin out to 17 points. 13 minutes gone, 3rd quarter. Payne worked under the footy by Campbell. Ferreira, Coombs, and ties him up on the boundary line for a ball up.
Michael Coombs as well, it's his 6th game for Buffalo, so he qualifies for finals. And if he returns to St Mary's, it will make him a 4-point player if he ever does return. I'm not saying he's going to, but if he ever does return, he'll be a 4-point player, so he'll take up 1/4 of the points cap, so it really puts a bit of pressure on the Saints, but he is qualified.
Oh, huge bump. Paredes pushed into the path of Larson. He had a player on his hammer and one coming the other way, and he bounced up courageously. And a free kick's been picked to St Mary's. Well done, Leroy Larson. Put his body on the line and earns a free kick. That's courage, Rick.
He got straight back up, which is good.
Larson to right half forward. Calder with the sit. Through his fingertips. Colin Wilson can have a chance here. He's taken to ground by Eldridge. Socket off the ground. No, miss from Calder. Atkinson picks up. Handballs backwards. Well, Morris Rioli's dangerous in this situation. Holds his feet. Tries to tap it back between his legs. And then it was held without the footy. No free kick. Play on the call. Eldridge close to the boundary line. He's 40 from the goal. He's defending. Good tackle by Paredes. Held him up. Back to Ferreira. Linklater. Comes to Rioli. Socket it through, but only as far as Atkinson. Handball to Campbell. Campbell back to Atkinson. They're still in trouble. Sold him straight into a tackle. Come to Calder. Wait in the goal square. And Saints are back to within 11 points.
Wow.
14 minutes gone, 3rd quarter. Here comes St Mary's, 6-7 to 8-6.
Very rarely do you see Matthew Campbell make mistakes, but he had, it was Jared Waite's man was running off him, just had to keep going to the Botanical Gardens side of the ground, or the opposite the grandstand side, as you can see here. He's brought it back into play here, so Matty Campbell, see the ball there, you can see Jared Waite's man runs off him, he just had to give it off there, but they've gone back into dangerous spots where St Mary's had representation of the football.
How dangerous is Morris Rioli? Doesn't have the footy, but just buzzing around, laying tackles.
And just
putting that
exciting as
pressure.
well. Anytime you see him around the contest, you just, I think you said before, unpredictable. You just don't know what he's going to do. He's exciting.
Danger signs for the Buffaloes. 15 minutes gone, 3rd quarter. Saints back to within 2 kicks. Leroy Larson into the ruck. Paredes has had a good 3rd quarter. Farms it out to Payne. Barrels a torpedo, 60 metres. Shannon Rioli slipped through his fingers, almost came up with a chest mark, 20 metres out directly in front. And we'll have a ball up at the city end.
Tried to claim it, didn't he? But he's not arguing, so pretty good umpiring by Mark Noonan. Probably Darwin's greatest actor, actually, Mark Noonan.
It's good for umpiring. It takes one to know
Oh,
one.
Johnston grabs it out of the ruck contest and hooks the kick. He's kicked 3 already today. And that one is out of bounds on the full.
Good news, Adam Tipperwoody being picked up by probably the greatest football club in the world in the North Melbourne Football Club during the week. So
No bias there.
hopefully the young man's got the talent and may get picked up in the mid-season draft.
Well done by Tyler Saunders.
Best on ground for me, Tyler Saunders today.
Got rid of his opponent. Kicks to Jackson Payne. Stretch, couldn't mark. Pendlebury hacks it out of defensive 50. Numbers favouring St Mary's here. 2-on-1 battle. Liam Daly's been good all day on the outside of the left boot. It's a clever kick. Colin Wilson couldn't quite get to the drop of the footy. Waite comes in from the side. He's got a couple of Buffaloes to beat. Dives after the ball. Sweeping handball into the goal square. Has he got Payne there to get there first? He can't. And Tahana sees it through for a rush behind. St Mary's are all over the Buffaloes at the moment. Margin is 10.
Less than 2 goals, so it's game on.
Tahana brings the ball back in the Atkinson direction. Up goes Jalen Clark to the back of the pack. Here's an opening for the Buffs. Williams wastes no time. Sets it out into the path of Shillabeer. Braxton Matt did well to put the pressure on, and Shillabeer kicks it out of bounds on the full.
Talking in the break, we were saying before about if Shillabeer could get back to his form of 3 years ago, the Buffs would have to be in a really, really good spot come finals year time. He's fit. He's certainly a lot fitter than he was last year, so sometimes you just got to clunk a big mark in a pack and things can change pretty quickly.
Labastida marks. So Armat went backwards into the right back pocket. Just a bit of respite from the heat in the shadows and takes a bit of time to soak it up. Bowls up against Paredes. Spoiled it away. Oh, coming hard was Jake Long. Crashed into Coombs. The strong body stood up to it. He then barrels into Parry. Up towards half forward. Well played by Pendlebury for the Buffaloes. Coming out of half back, he marks on the edge of the centre square. He's got Tahana making space out at right half back. He's got time for a bounce, then kicks up towards half forward. He sends it back inside the centre square to Bowles. Good centering ball. St Mary's defence manned up well. Stafford in from the side, always dangerous, ran under the footy. Labastida spoils it away into the path of Jacob Long, who's been solid again today. Played every game for St Mary's this year. Out to Riley Linklater, who's had a very good match for St Mary's. The 19-year-old kicks up towards half forward. Not a great kick down the throat of Eldridge. And so the Buffaloes just holding for the moment.
Young fella's got to take that on board. You just can't turn the footy over like that. So as you're learning, you just got to realise that it's not acceptable.
It's got a chance here because the ball's out of bounds on the full. 3 goals to 1 quarter for St Mary's. Trailed by 23 points at half-time. They've got it back to 10 points.
Shannon, well, good positioning.
Got away from Eldridge, got the handball there to Paredes. Low kick, excellent to Waite. Here comes the superstar. 2 ex-Blues. Joey Anderson for the Buffaloes. Couldn't quite get to Waite before he clunked the mark, and he'll line up from 45 metres, 45-degree angle, left half forward. For his 2nd goal for the quarter. And to bring it back to a 4-point ball game. Jared Waite, the Carlton star, spent a bit of time at North Melbourne. Kicks it long, kicks it beautifully. St Mary's back within 4 points. And all of a sudden, that double chance for the Buffaloes is looking a little dicey.
It'll be interesting going into this last quarter. Saints haven't got a real lot to play for. They say there is a saying, don't flirt with form. And yeah, it'll be interesting, Buffs, because I reckon that 3rd place is pretty important.
We've been singing Jared Waite's praises all afternoon, and why wouldn't you? The 2003 AFL Rising Star, Carlton's leading goal kicker in 2014 and North Melbourne's leading goal kicker in 2015, making these 2 gentlemen to the right of me pretty happy through those years.
Yeah, but gee, didn't he improve, Rob, when he went to the North Melbourne Football Club? I just reckon he went up about 5 notches.
I saw him at the MCG one night against Essendon. He kicked 5 goals to half-time.
Wow.
Parry. Paredes might have been taken high, and he was. Free kick against Campbell. It's all flowing St Mary's way. The green machine are rolling. Paredes kicked right up forward. Waite was held, but comes in from the side. Punched away by big bump Coombs on Morris Rioli Jr. That punch came from Joey Anderson. Well played by Coombs. It was a hat kick, but it found Williams, who finds Shillabeer.
Really good sign, Morris Rioli Jr. Got straight back up. It's hurting him. You can see him down on his breath, but he got straight back up. It's a really good sign by a junior footballer.
There is a player down, Leroy Larson, in back play, who was involved in that contest as well. Beautifully weighted ball into the path of Armat. Off the side of the left boot, centering ball to Jalen Clark, who's been pretty quiet today. Jacob Long's been wonderful, and he's got Ferreira all alone on the wing. Watch out. Wouldn't want to play on because Eldridge got to him pretty quickly. Now Ferreira comes inboard to Pereira. It's opening up for St Mary's. Edwards standing alone at centre half forward, goes longer than that. Intercepting was Anderson. To Tahana, back to Anderson. Was good play by the Buffaloes defence. Out towards the wing. Maroney's got to go here. Oh, not quite the tackle. Didn't quite stick by Ferreira, and a kick by Maroney finds Campbell. He's got Williams all alone. Off the side of the boot, most un-Campbell-like.
Dangerous.
They've still got the numbers. Campbell, I should say, Rioli has infringed on Coombs. Push in the back. Very lucky Buffaloes. And now a 50-metre penalty.
Just watching this game, I reckon Morris is very important to St Mary's. He just harasses. He's got that typical Rioli harass. And very similar to Cyril and Daniel. He's wearing Ben's number, I can see, who's now currently at South Fremantle Footy Club. But yeah, he's going to be handy for him come finals.
Williams low kick, Schillebeer out on the lead, and maybe this is this bit of confidence building you're talking about, Rick. On his day, he's capable. He's looking around. He'll kick from about 55 metres out. He'll probably run around a little bit to the right-hand side and hook the big right boot. And don't they need this goal? St Mary's coming with everything. They trail by just 4 points, the Saints. He unwinds from 52. He sets it out to the left and drives it through the middle. Oh, no, it's touched right on the line. Okay.
No, it's
We're a long way away from that, so we're behind only. Margin 5 points. Jacob Long.
If there's 1 point, oh no, you're allowed to play on now, aren't you? So,
Pendlebury or dangerous. Cossack was okay. Cheek, Johnston. Cheek still fighting for it. Over the top comes Lachlan McKenzie. Back to Edwards. Quick kick to Payne, I should say. Quick handball out to Morris Rioli Jr. Couldn't trap. Cuts back through and was held. Oh, he's so clever. Armat laid the tackle when he didn't have the footy, and Morris Rioli Jr. comes up with the ball and kicks it to Payne, who's made space at right half forward. Marks on his chest, 55 from goal. Get it into Jared Waite for his third goal for the term. Pokes a little kick. Out comes Waite on the lead. One grab
hands.
mark. Big smile to the face of Ricky Nolan.
Great effort by Eldridge. He didn't pull it off, but just he left his man to nearly cut the ball off. I suppose nearly's not good enough, but
Waite's kick draws it beautifully from left to right. St Mary's have hit the front by a point, and Jared Waite has kicked 3 goals for the quarter. Ricky Nolan has called it. He was just waiting to him to set fire to this game, and that's exactly what he's done.
St Mary's can win the flag off the back of this bloke. If Paredes is on fire, Jake Long, Jack Geary through the middle with Payne. Payne's an absolute superstar. Getting the ball to this guy here. If he's on, no one's going to stop him in this competition. So it's just got to look at getting forward. As I said, 14 forward 50 entries a quarter, and make sure that 8 of those 14 are deep to him and Calder. And I reckon that they're in a very strong chance of winning a flag, St Mary's Football Club.
5 goals to 1 in this third quarter. Parry up against Atkinson. Tried the little flip over his shoulder to Campbell. He grabbed it, was immediately tackled. Jackson Clark is being attacked by a number of St Mary's players. Atkinson taken to ground. Morris Rioli Jr. was clever again. Scooped it up and threw it onto the right boot. Whistle, it's going to Calder. No, it's going against St Mary's, and it's going to Joe Anderson.
Morris Rioli Jr.'s had a huge quarter, I reckon. He got flattened a minute ago, and his work rate's very, very high.
Lachlan McKenzie out to Tahana. Hooks the kick back inboard. Seaton Kernoff back to McKenzie. Running through the middle of Gardens Oval. Out in the Stafford direction. Will get to him on the bounce. Pushed away from Davies. Couldn't control the footy. Bowles went without it. Davies comes out hard. Pushes it in the Labastida direction. Great shepherd by Jake Long. Comes to Colin Wilson. Clark comes at him. Wilson around the corner. Great smother by Clark. And at left half forward for the Buffs. The ball is out of bounds.
Scuffle between CJ Wilson and Jackson Clark. Jackson Clark used to coach him in under-12s.
To make matters worse for the Buffs.
CJ Wilson has just hit
Jalen
Clark and gave away a free kick. So you wouldn't want that to happen in finals footy, would you?
We want to concede a goal here. Coach will be filthy as Jalen Clark bombs it long.
Schillebeer around that stuff.
2 to beat. Stafford all alone. Can't get to it. Jacob Long's been terrific. And the team play, the defensive play was brilliant. Ran to the boundary line. Happy to see it out of bounds.
To make matters worse for the Buffs, that last goal from Waite for the Saints before saw Cale Cossack being helped off by a couple of trainers as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. I don't know whether he's back out on the field at the moment. Certainly pulled up a bit sore.
Schillebeer and ruck up against Parry. Williams went without it. Cheek lurking. Colin Wilson. Campbell comes up with the footy. But lots of green jumpers around it, force it out of bounds.
Interesting, on the wing here, we had Jared Waite and Joey Anderson were in the shade having a chat to each other, 2 ex-Carlton teammates. And looked like they hadn't caught up with each other for a while and just had a quick 30-second chat.
Closing in on three-quarter time. St Mary's by a point. Kicked 5 goals to 1 in this quarter. Paredes kicked as he went to ground. Barging through there was Labastida. Campbell comes up with it. Williams tries to get it out. Long kick towards the boundary line. Anderson off his hands and out of bounds. Tyler Saunders, Jacob Long, Tom Davies have been terrific in defence when the Buffaloes have been coming hard, kept them in it early. And now the big stars are shining with Jared Waite, 3 goals for the quarter to help St Mary's grab the lead. Buffs must win today to get the double chance. McKenzie taken in a strong tackle, spun around 360 degrees, and Shannon Rioli wins the free kick. Buffs wouldn't want to concede one, closing in on 3/4 time. Rioli defensive side of the centre, kicks long in the Ferreira direction, running back with a flight against Armat. Vacant space out at left half forward, runs onto the footies, he got a left boot, turns back onto the right. Handball back to Cheek, right on 3/4 time, set sail on goal. It was across the face anyway, but no score. 3/4 time at Gardens Oval. It's a ripping final round of home and away. St Mary's 8-8, Darwin 8-7.
Too close.
Welcome back to TIO Stadium. TIO Stadium, it's normally TIO Stadium, Gardens Oval. How can we forget? Fourth quarter underway, St Mary's, Darwin Buffaloes. Rob Cross.
And Jackson Calder will have the first shot on goal of the final term for a 7-point lead. I think the heat's getting to everyone today as Calder has just hooked the kick, led off for the Buffs, margin 2 points.
Not getting to Gray Morris, he's in an air-conditioned box.
Pendlebury wants McKenzie. Johnston gets there late, but McKenzie takes a strong mark at right half back. And what would the Buffs give if they had a couple of their Arnhem Land players from last week? Ricky Nolan, Damaji Wanamara and Nathaniel Cooper.
Well, they kicked 6 between them, didn't they?
Yeah, they were wonderful.
4-2, yep.
Oh, clever by Jared Way into the path of Leroy Larson. Has been pinged for a throw, has he? Well, I would say he didn't quite trap it cleanly. The ball was there to be punched, which he did, but he's been penalised. Never question Mark Noonan. He's right there, and we're up in the grandstand. So it comes to McKenzie, to Williams. They look slow and devoid of options at the moment, the Buffs.
I reckon Saints have rotated a touch better than they have.
Kick from Tahana was good out to Pendlebury. To Moroney. In front of Jake Long, the former Essendon player. Saints lead by 2 points. They trail by 23 points at halftime. They kicked 5 goals to 1 in the third quarter. Ball goes out of bounds before Coombs could gather it at left half forward for the Buffs.
And Rob, as you're spelling out today's game, that is almost history repeating itself of what happened last time these two teams met in round 11 just before Christmas. Scores were level at three-quarter time, and it was the Saints that pulled away for an 11-point lead. But the Buffs, last time they met, led for the first half of the match.
Ishmael Palmer to Shillabere. Awkward delivery at his bootlaces. Lays a strong tackle on Armat, though. Play on the call, comes back to Palmer, feeds it out to Eldridge, can he get over the top? Calling for it is Sam Boner, but a great tackle by Jacob Long. Held him up, big bump from Cheek. St Mary's might be away again, although Eldridge holds him up. Cheek by hand, still fighting on Josh Cheek, was wonderful. Slapped backwards by the Buffaloes, comes to Jackson Clark. Jacob Long, Eldridge in there over the top of the footy, 55 from the Buffs goal. Comes to Ferreira, backwards to Palmer, slick handball to Bowles, runs to 40. Has he got the hook on the kick? Not quite, behind to the right-hand side, margin back to a point. 8-7 to 8-8 to 8-9.
Well, they're away on the Botanical Gardens side here, Saints.
Johnston marks on his chest. Now things might slow down. They've got Paredes all
There's
alone.
No one near him.
Paredes marks between wing and half back on the outer side. Can trot and have a bounce. Shillibeer comes to him now. Paredes centering ball to Morris Rioli Jr. Holds his ground as Joe Anderson slipped over. Clever kick, not quite getting to Shannon Rioli. Jalen Clark comes up with a footy and just hacks it back towards left half forward. Out comes Johnson, who's done a great job in the ruck to Braxton Arm, out to Labastida. Picked up the awkward bouncing ball at his bootlaces. Kicks to half forward and Shannon Rioli marks. 85 metres from goal, near the scoreboard. Pokes a kick to Calder. He's found a lot of space. They're running strongly, St Mary's. They lead by a point. Calder's handball back to Rioli. He's got company at Shillibeer. Still Shannon Rioli, strong through the hips. To Morris Rioli Jr. To Paredes. Wants to give by hand. Dribbles a little kick looking for Calder. Intercepted. Well picked up by Eldridge, who sweeps the handball over his shoulder and is happy to see it out of bounds.
Still not of the understanding. Calder had the ball there once and Paredes had the ball there once. Why you wouldn't get that to the top of the square?
Desperate times for the Buffaloes. They trail by a point. Lose today, they lose the double chance. They came into this final round in third spot. Eldridge bumped by Morris Rioli Jr. Kicks in towards the middle. Campbell well played by Daly. Pushed the experienced ex-AFL player off the footy. Whistle's gone. Is it coming back somewhere? It's coming back inside.
Free kick against the Buffaloes runner, I believe.
Oh, that's a shocking blow for the Buffs. St Mary's through Jacob Long, who's been wonderful. Sent it inside attacking 50. Paredes waits under the footy, bounces off his chest. Comes to Payne, taken high Paredes. He'll shoot for goal from directly in front, 35 metres out. And a 50-metre penalty.
Wow.
I think some mouthing off perhaps, and Paredes will make a certainty of it and push the margin out to 7.
Either Jalen Clark or Bowles, but I feel a bit for the tackler. I think it was Bowles. He did drop his knees a little. He did drop his knees, got taken high, so it made it very, very difficult for the tackler, who I think was Bowles. So I can see their side of the argument there.
Does play for them a bit. I noticed that in the third quarter. I'm not sure whether that's his normal go, but I've certainly noticed it a few times today. Paredes bangs through the goal. St Mary's lead by 7 points.
Yeah, just reckon that they've rotated a touch better, Saints. And there was times we were talking before, Mackenzie's sort of gone to the ruck and ruck rover and just played on the ball a bit too much. Bowles, I don't reckon, has rotated that much. Mikey Coombs is another one that hasn't rotated that much. So just reckon Saints may have a touch more legs.
I'm not sure. I think Mackenzie's in a bit of trouble. I reckon the boots are off down on the Buffs bench, so that's a blow. I don't know how many they've got left on the bench there. Kale Cossack we saw go off in the third quarter. He's up and about. Looks like he might be okay to come on.
Yeah, standing at the
I
gate.
haven't seen Cameron Stokes for a long time either. I don't think he's fit either. So some big blows for the Buffs. Well done by Cheek. Shrugged Bowles to Eldridge. Oh, watch out. Morris Rioli Jr.'s coming at him. Oh, well done, Rioli
wow.
Jr. Jumper tug. Got it to Shannon Rioli, though, from 55 to Waite out on the lead. The big wingspan came out, couldn't clunk the mark, but it's turned over back to Cheek. Cheek from 60 metres. Calder, kick it long by Calder. Running back with a fly. Jackson. Calder goes up, one grab, spoiled away by Moroney. Anderson runs back into the left back pocket. Wants Moroney, comes back to Anderson, but it's out of bounds. Right forward pocket for St Mary's at the Mindle Beach end.
How good's Morris Rioli been since half-time? He's got St Mary's back into this game with his pressure.
And he up against Eldridge, been so exciting.
Yeah, it has been a good battle.
Yeah, I think they've basically got no bench, Ricky. Bradley
Wow.
Stokes off. Cameron Stokes off.
I reckon that is nearly game over when that happens. When you've got no bench, it's just such an advantage.
Atkinson holding the footy. Be a huge win if they can pull it off.
50.
Well, and remember, with the Tiwi Bombers winning today, the Buffs, the way they are at the moment, they will lose that third spot.
That's absolutely right. Atkinson. So next week would be a Southern Districts Buffaloes elimination final and St Mary's Tiwi qualifying final, with Nightcliff getting the week off. Moroney, captain today in the absence of Jared Stokes. Injuries taking their toll on the Buffaloes. They led by 23 points at half-time, but they lost some players and no rotations available. Daly's been good. So's this man, stepping one way then the other. Jacob Long back into the middle. Leroy Larson got hit heavily in the third quarter, but back up and fighting, as is this man Riley Linklater, who's had a good game, trying to tow it forward with Shannon Rioli. Unable to get boot to ball. Squeezes out the back of the pack and Jalen Clark's away for the Buffs.
Good umpiring, let the game on. Good.
Linklater chases hard. The kick comes in the Sambono direction. In front came Stafford. Goes to ground. Tyler Saunders, superb all day. Possibly the best player for St Mary's. Out to Linklater. Gets the bouncing footy on the wing. They go forward again. All alone is Calder. Calder marks on his chest.
Please get it to Jared White.
70 from goal. Goes short in towards the pocket to Larson, who marks in front of Anderson.
Still there, Wait one out in the goal square by himself. The Saints have waited for the Buffaloes defenders to get down there.
Kicks in towards Calder, who's made space and marks on his chest. The bigger body in front of Tahana. And the pressure and the lack of people on the bench for the Buffaloes are starting to tell. Calder can line up for his first goal of the afternoon. He's the leading goal scorer for St Mary's this season, but he's been pretty well held. He's kicked 24 goals so far.
Isn't it Tom Davies, Stafford down the other end? God, that's been a really good contest, hasn't it?
So almost a match-winning lead. 9.5 minutes gone to push it out to 13 points. Calder's kick is wonderful. St Mary's lead by 13 points. 10-9 plays 8-8, and that might be a hard task for the Buffaloes to come back from.
With the in the old days, with no bench and a bit of a lead like this, you'd probably chuck one behind the footy. But with the 6-6-6 rule coming into the NTFL, certainly Coach Anthony Velojo wouldn't be able to do that. So, interesting with these injuries. Do you reckon they'll bring those two kids in from Gove, Rob, next week?
You have to ask Nico Riley.
Damaji Wanamara and Nathaniel Cooper kicked a lot of goals last week.
Nico Riley, I reckon he's getting a bit up himself with that. He brings in those two kids from Gove. He's just getting around with his chest out. And
I believe he's dubbed himself the father of the Buffs now.
And I heard that Wally Gallio went to speak to him about them joining a Thunder program, and Nico Riley goes, "You've got to go through me. I'm their manager." So.
Paredes, some holding going on. Will go against Moroney. Jake Long's been thrown forward. Long pokes it to Morris Rioli Jr. Couldn't control the mark, but lays a very strong tackle on Jalen Clark. Eldridge, grabbed by Leroy Larson. Kick in the Ferreira direction. Jake Long went to give the handball to Colin Wilson, then faked and dummied and pokes it back towards Sean Edwards. He drops the mark. Tahana. Jackson Clark, high kick to the wing, grandstand side of Gardens Oval. Williams up against Parry to the back of the pack. Good to see McKenzie back, so they have got a couple on the bench. Lachlan McKenzie kicks towards centre half forward, over the head of Shillabeer to Sambono. Clever tap to Palmer. Can he control it? Over the top to Stafford. They come at him hard. Labastida. Stafford goes to ground and holding the footy. Free kick to St Mary's.
Saints
Numbers told out.
Saints defenders, Saunders, Labastida and Long, just their ability to pressure and get back was just terrific.
Labastida from the right back pocket to Davies, who made space and marks in front of Sambono. And Sambono started the year with a bang, 12 goals against St Mary's, against Tiwi Bombers, I should say. Just one today. He's been very well held. He corrals Davies close to the boundary line on the Botanics Gardens side. Good spoil away from Larson. Having one last crack, he sends the Buffaloes. Jalen Clark hooks it back inside 50. Ish Palmer couldn't take the mark. Goes to ground. Tom Davies comes up with the footy. Sweeps it back into the Labastida direction. Strong and hard at the footy. Back to Davies. Kick to the wing. Diving after it there was Armat. But the numbers with St Mary's, and it comes back to Leroy Larson. He pokes a kick back towards the wing and out towards Colin Wilson. Keeps it in. Trickles the kick along the boundary line to Calder. He'll be happy to see it out. No, he's kept it in. Anderson stopped. Calder has a couple of bounces. Has a third. Will it come back to him? Sweeping handball on the top to Edwards, and that could sum up the Buffs' day. Edwards went to handball to Wait. Goes himself. Buffs want a touch. There's going to be a consultation process. They wouldn't want this to be a goal. The Buffaloes had given up on it when they thought the ball had gone out of bounds. They lead by 13. Do they lead by 19? I reckon they do. St Mary's by 19 points, and that could be the game at the 12.5-minute mark of the final quarter.
Yeah, Joey Anderson has just got it on the boundary line. He's just got to listen to the umpire. So, did the ball go out or not? I don't know. I'm 200 metres away, but he's away. They nearly muffed it, Saints, but Calder kept it going, and then good work by the Buffs fullback. I reckon you always got to try and claim that you touched it. No, he didn't touch that. Good umpiring.
Ryan Pendlebury, brother of the Magpies skipper. won't qualify for finals. It's his 4th game this year.
Because he come from the VFL, it'll make him a 2-pointer. So next year he'll be a 1-pointer if he decides to come back. So that can be very, very handy in your point system.
Bowles. Well done by Shannon Rioli, who's had a wonderful game. Bowles just got in the way of his teammate there, perhaps. He's fighting for it at ground level. Comes to Jackson Payne. Paredes. Cossack, who's back on the ground, does well to knock him off the footy. Paredes came back at him pretty hard. It's out of bounds.
Viewers down south, the point system, you're allowed 16 points. If you change NTFL clubs, you're a 4-pointer. Come from a country league, you're a 3-pointer. Come from a state league, which is a VFL, SNFL, AFL, you're a 2-pointer. So to recruit players from the VFL is very, very handy in your point system.
Jackson Payne overruns the footy. Linklater busy as always. Campbell up against Payne. Ahmed bumped by Linklater. Ball up at centre half forward.
The player must directly come from that competition. So in Jared Waite's case, he come from St Kevin's in the amateurs, so he's a 3-pointer, not a 2-pointer, even though he has played AFL football. It's where you've directly come from.
Johnston, clever tap down the throat of Morris Rioli Jr. Had some heavy pressure though. A hold. Buffalo's free kick. 14.5 minutes gone. It's a 19-point margin to St Mary's. Tim Eldridge been just about the Buffalo's best.
Sore and tired bodies out there.
It's a hot, hot day in Darwin. Nowhere to hide. Few shadows around the flanks that the teams have sought refuge from during the breaks.
I think looking at the game, I don't think it's the end of the world for Buffs. I know you don't want to finish 4th or 5th, but they're going in with a bit of form. They haven't been disgraced today. St Mary's will be the 2nd favourites for the flag. And as you said, they've had no bench in the second half of this game. God, this bloke's impressed me.
Morris Rioli Jr. from 80 at right half forward. Kicks, looking for his team out there in Edwards, but Moroney slides in for the Buffs. And I reckon AFL&T would be licking their lips too, Rick, because Southern Districts and Buffs in the last few years, just about every game is less than a goal.
Yep.
Jalen Clark, oh, watch out, watch out. Here comes Morris Rioli Jr. He's wrapped him up in a big hug and brings him to ground with a wonderful tackle. 65 from goal at left half forward.
He's been unbelievable in this second half.
Pokes the kick to Sean Edwards. Waste no time. Plays on from 40 metres. Kicks the sealer if they really needed one. St Mary's are running away with this game. They lead by 25 points. 16 minutes gone. Final quarter. Well done, Morris Rioli Jr.
And for a 17-year-old kid, it's unbelievable effort. So.
He's got AFL written all over him, doesn't he, Rick?
Yeah, I certainly have, but we also got to watch and not put too much pressure on the kid as well. So
yeah, that's a good point,
there's
Ricky.
a big difference between in local football and AFL football. I think we play kids up a little bit too much here. So, but he's in the right environment, and watching today, he's certainly heading in the right direction.
Sting's gone at it for the Buffs. Wonderful first half. We think they didn't make the most of their opportunities, Rick.
Another kid of Fiera, I reckon he's been terrific the last 2 years. I reckon Saints have really got one there as well.
He had a great game last week as well.
Jake Long playing in the middle, the former Bomber. Eldridge, Anderson. Oh, dangerous. Back into the corridor. Going to get away with it. Clark just hacks a wobbly kick. No real thought to it, just wanted to get it out of the forward 50. And Jake Long smashes it out of bounds.
Signals to your forwards a bit of no care that. I still reckon you've got to have a look, kick it, look after your forwards, kick it to his advantage side.
So St Mary's and Buffs have played 3 times this year. And it'll be 3-0 to St Mary's. Back of the pack, Jake Long. Slung to the ground by Williams, but got his kick away. Straight down the throat of Shannon Rioli. Gliding by was Johnston. Rioli hangs onto it. Crowded forward 50, but he's got some big guns down there. Kicks in the Jared Waite direction. No, he doubled back, went the wrong way. Leroy Larson in from the side. Little handball squeezed out to Tahana. Moroney to Jackson Clark. Marks in front of Colin Wilson. There's nothing to kick to. There's one-on-one contest all the way down the line. He'll go to Shillabeer. Braxton Armat's done terrifically well on Shillabeer and spoils it out of bounds. Versatile player, Armat. Ricky's played in the ruck a bit this year, defence, bit of forward.
Really improved the last 3 weeks as well, I reckon.
So a boundary throw in between wing and half forward. St Mary's just into attack with the game in their keeping. They have kicked 9 goals to 1 in this second half. And they've got a chance for another one with Adam Parry marking all alone. No one near him. Strolls in from 30 metres out. Another goal to St Mary's. The margin now to 31 points.
Put the cue in the rack, I think, at Buffs.
Looks like, doesn't it?
No one was near Parry then. So. Yeah, it'd be interesting both sides with with Kernoff as a junior. I reckon if juniors play finals footy, it's one finals games like playing 20 home and away games. I reckon just the pressure can really fast forward your development. So blokes like Fiera, Morris, Rioli or Kernoff for Buffaloes, it can really you don't hand finals out, you just don't hand them out. Link later whether he keeps his he's certainly put his hand up to put pressure on him. When you're putting pressure on, it puts your club in a really good position. So interesting to see if he keeps his spot as well.
Well, we saw Aidan Hill go off early with what we assume was a knee injury. He had the knee very heavily bandaged, but they rested Anthony Long today, so imagine Long would come straight back in for Hill.
Long. Jack Long's another one I think will be available. Whether they bring him through the seconds or not, I don't know. Raph Clark, they're making him work hard. And that's what I like about Anthony Vallejo. He's just not handing games out willy-nilly. You've got to earn the right to wear this jumper.
Bowles wins the free kick. Cheek dragged it back under. Great kick by Bowles. Let Campbell drop the mark. The sun could have been a problem.
Yep.
Got a heavy bump from Labastida. So Campbell head over the footy, wins the free kick at right half forward. He'll be disappointed with the fade out. But a wonderful kick to Palmer.
Great kick of the football.
5 goals in each of the last 2 quarters, St Mary's. And just 1 goal coming in the third quarter for the second half so far for the Buffaloes. Palmer, for his second goal of the afternoon, steers it through, but just the second goal of the second half to the Buffaloes, and the margin back to 25 points.
On Buffs, Jared Stokes, they should get back, who's arguably their best player. Cameron Stokes is their barometer, in my opinion, so I hope he isn't too badly injured, but his fiancée, Candice Liddy, is one of the best physiotherapists in Darwin, so he's in pretty good hands to be able to get right for next week.
And Bradley Stokes too has been a solid contributor all season, so he's been missed for the second half of this game. Led by 23 points at half-time, the Buffs.
Mikey Coombs reckons it's his best game for Buffs, so it's good to get in a bit of forms coming into finals.
So Tiwi Bombers, by virtue of their win today over Wanderers, and they were made to work hard. It was 14 points in the end, Matty.
Yeah.
Cheek strong. Oh, taken down though, and must be a free kick to Mikey Coombs, who've just given him a rap. And he bobs up, although he looks a bit hurt. Has he done a hamstring? He's got a bit of hobbles there. Or ankle, something. Or just a bit of cramp.
That's cramp. Yeah. He handballed it to someone under pressure. It's play on. You can't. He decided to handball it. Got to control again, umpire.
So Jared Waite's come in to lend his contribution. Coombs comes up with a footy. Waite wants to have a bit of a go at Eldridge. Opens the door here for the Buffs through Bowles. Bowles, long kick. Campbell under it. Over the top comes Stafford. Plays on quickly with a quick snap for his 4th goal of the afternoon. And a late consolation for the Buffs. Too little, too late. 21.5 minutes gone, final term. The margin back to 19 points.
He's played well, Stafford, for a guy who ripped the hamstring off his bone last week, Rob.
He looked proppy last week, but he has recovered amazingly well.
Probably the best forward in the comp at the moment, I reckon. He's
39 goals for the season.
He's had a terrific year. I'm not sure if he's living here or if he's living in Alice Springs. Stafford. Lives in his community, I've just been told, by the great Wally Gallio.
22 minutes gone, final term. A couple of late goals to the Buffs have got it back to 19 points after the game-high lead of 31 to St Mary's. They've been impressive, Saints. Wooden spooners for the first time in their history last season. And Anthony Vallejo, in his first year as coach, has got them finishing second. 3 games clear after the home and away season. Just a few minutes to go in this game. Round 18 of NTFL footy. Final start next week. Eldridge. Whistle goes. Late hits down the field. They might get another late goal. Don't think there's time. 23 minutes gone. They can sneak one here. It gets it back to 13 points. Shillaby is taking a long time. You don't have it. No, the kick's got to come back to Cossack. spent a bit of time off the ground injured. He's back on and moving pretty well. Out to Eldridge. Saints defence doing well to keep them outside, attacking 50 at the city end of Gardens Oval. Lead came from Campbell, still coming Campbell. Standing in the way was Johnston and Braxton Armat. To Liam Daly. Steps around Coombs. Kicks to the wing, intercepted by Cossack. Running out the game okay here, the Buffs. They've left it too late. Gets around a link later. Kicks in a Stafford direction. Palmer there as well. One grab, two. He's got it.
Well done, Palmer.
Ish Palmer can kick his third goal. 23 and a half minutes gone. There's been some goals in this term. How long have we got?
Talking Saints and finishing, we'll just see the kick here.
Palmer to bring it back to 13 points. Steers it through.
Wow, well.
Finished off well, haven't they, Buffs? With no bench.
Just time's going to be their worst enemy right now. They've got the momentum.
Just thinking Saints finishing second. List is pretty strong. But imagine, and people move out of Darwin and they want to better themselves, but Nick Guerin, Kieran Parnell. Kieran Parnell's gone to Williamstown. Ben Rioli has gone to South Fremantle. Mikey Coombs moved to Buffs. Like, they're four premiership players that have played a lot of finals footy, and they're still under 23. Ben Rioli mightn't be, but these are kids. I think there's some of them are 21. But you're talking a really good. You know, if those players were to be here with this current list as well, like you'd be right around the mark for the next 5 years, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's a good point, Ricky.
Jared Waite's gone into the middle. Johnston will take the ruck work, though, up against Atkinson. A little spell on the bench. He likes that back one over the head flip. Didn't find a teammate, and Waite just bangs it forward. That's the good zone if you're a St Mary's supporter. Anderson taken down in a strong tackle. Comes to Parry. Ricochets off shins. Pendlebury, whistle goes. A hold. It's going to the Buffaloes. Has advantage been paid? No, it's got to come back. Can't waste a moment.
I was going to say the advantage probably would have put to their advantage, dare I say.
25 minutes gone. 13 points the margin. Buffs have kicked the last three. McKenzie at right half back. Jumping up and down to the mark is Jake Long. To Bowles. A slide opening, he plays on and kicks up towards half forward. Too tall for Shillabere. Cossack does well to control the footy up against Daly. Cossack handball back to Williams. His quick kick is pretty good. Sambono's running back to the flight, so too is Jacob Long. Comes to Shillabere. Can he dish off? He can't. Jacob Long, tremendous. Not sure who's better, he or Tyler Saunders, Ricky Nolan. Comes to Jacob Long across half back.
Tom Davies been good as well, I reckon.
Armat comes at him, still with Jacob Long. Steps around Shillabere. Kicks up towards right half forward. Out comes Parry. Knocked away from him. Maroney just got a little push. Still going St Mary's through Leroy Larson. Centering kick is wonderful to Shannon Rioli, although Tahana did well to get there late and spoil away. Waite just steps through traffic. Received the wonky handball from Jalen Clark. And his kick is equally as wonky as the handball. It goes through for a behind.
Morris Rioli Jr. as well, I think, deserves to be in the conversation. But I think the backs were the ones that stopped, that kept it within distance in the first half.
Strong kick out from Anderson, found Bowles. Cossack. He should have turned and gone, I think. He kicks back behind Jackson Clark, and he keep it in. Oh, some tired people out there, and Jackson Clark can't keep it in.
Absolutely bewildered why you would kick that ball sideways. The goals are the other way. Why you would kick the ball sideways is I've got no idea.
14 points the lead, 26 and a half minutes gone. A few goals have been kicked in this final quarter.
I feel sorry for people like Shillabeer's example. Get the ball to him.
There it is, it's all over. And St Mary's couldn't be knocked off second spot in today's game, but the Buffaloes had so much to play for. They came into the match in third spot. They led by 23 points at half time, but they were overrun in the second half. St Mary's kicking 10 goals to 3. 10 goals to 4, in fact, and St Mary's win this afternoon's game by 14 points. Next week, it'll be an elimination final between Southern Districts and the Buffaloes, and St Mary's will take on the TIO Bombers in the qualifying final.
Well, St Mary's have beaten the side that looked like being third, and the side that the other side, so Tiwi and Buffs going into finals, and you want to be going into finals with good form. So, yeah, Nightcliff flogged them a couple of weeks ago with a very, very average side in, but they are the only team to beat Nightcliff this year. So, yep, good form going into finals. You can't argue with it.
It's going to be an absolutely cracking final series. You've been watching Aboriginal TV, Channel 4's coverage of the 2019-2020 TIO NTFL season, and it was St Mary's winners, 13-10, 88 defeating the Darwin Buffs, 11-8, 74.